Bah.
2023 was a landmark year for Jehovah's Witnesses, for all the wrong reasons. We saw the reduction of pioneer hour requirements, the end of ministry hours for publishers, huge changes to their eschatology, the allowance of beards,
Variety.
and so many losses in court. Watchtower is imploding. So today we are going to take a look back at some of the worst videos for 2023. Yes, boys and girls, the worst of the worst. And this is gonna be the hardest cringe challenge so far. So remember, if you cringe, you lose. And when you lose, let me know the exact moment you lost it. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Watchtower released a lot of crappy pop songs this year, but this one takes the cake. From the August JW Broadcasting, this original song follows the story of a refugee of war, of course from a Muslim country, who immigrates to London or some other depressing ass city. The lady is treated like crap everywhere she goes. Her wallet is stolen, she's mistreated by the barista.
$8.50.
Oh, I think I forgot my purse.
Not my problem.
Come on, I'm here all the time. I've been waiting forever.
And yet, still not my problem.
Are you serious? I can bring you the money after work.
Next customer.
Some dude at the restaurant yells at her for no reason.
Hey, I saw your son.
No! We don't hire foreigners! You ruined your country! Don't come here and ruin ours! Get out!
Just a dismal portrayal of worldly people. But alas, as our refugee friend is unable to pay for her coffee, a JW lady jumps in and pays for her.
Sorry, how much was her order?
$8.50.
Oh, I've got it. And could you add a regular coffee with cream?
Fine. 12 even.
But of course, instead of doing kindness for the sake of kindness, the JW posts out some Watchtower propaganda.
But if you'd like a little something encouraging to read on your way to work, you might enjoy this.
And ends up indoctrinating this lady in her most vulnerable state, because that's the only type of people JWs are able to convert nowadays. Just atrocious propaganda, the music sucks, it's depressing, and I'm gonna link the original videos down below in case you want to subject yourself to the entire ordeal. So we all know by now that Watchtower is losing a lot of young men. I mean, turns out that no one is interested in becoming an elder. Who could have thought? So how is the governing body going to turn things around? Are they going to increase the scriptural requirements for elders to make sure only the best of the best are appointed? Nah, they lowered the bar instead. Now you can become an elder in your early 20s. And this following video reeks of desperation. Let's watch.
What is the governing body doing to support efforts to train young brothers? Well, in January of this year, the governing body requested all bodies of elders worldwide to give priority to helping younger brothers grow in their relationship with Jehovah and to qualify for congregation responsibilities. Elders and circuit overseers were reminded that young brothers who apply themselves may qualify as ministerial servants in their late teens, and that an exceptional ministerial servant who has gained experience in shepherding and teaching could serve as an elder in his early 20s.
Damn, that's a low bar. Early 20s to become an elder? Are we competing with the Mormons now? Imagine a 21-year-old elder who's never had any pussy trying to counsel a couple who has been married for decades. What the hell is this kid supposed to say? Oh yeah, I've never held a girl's hand, but let me give you marriage advice. An elder is supposed to be an experienced brother, at least in his 30s, who knows how to handle the scriptures well. I mean, at least that's the image of elders I had while growing up. Assigning a person in their early 20s to such a powerful position would just turn them into megalomaniacs. Let me remind you that elders exert a huge influence over the congregation, and they have the power to disfellowship people and break families apart. Mark is instituting reforms that may backfire. It's gonna take decades to see the results of this. Also, it just shows how desperate they are in keeping young people in. They're losing their young ones in droves. Here's the full rebuttal in case you want to watch it. It's horrible. Keep crying, Watchtower. The governing body demands complete obedience to themselves, but sometimes they get quite creative in their way of illustrating this obedience. Remember that one time Robert Lucioni told us we should be willing to run into the fire for Jehovah's organization?
You see, brothers and sisters, we need the Gideons to help us in our support of the governing body. Gideon was such a beautiful example. Once he understood Jehovah's direction, he was willing to run into the fire for Jehovah and for his organization.
Whoa, did I hear that right?
He was willing to run into the fire for Jehovah and for his organization.
You know what time it is? Luciani might as well have told us that we should be willing to drink poisoned Kool-Aid for the governing body. Gideon wasn't willing to run into the fire for 8 old farts in New York. He went to war because he knew he had the God of the universe behind him. After asking physical proof of miracles, what proof do we have that the governing body is being backed by God?
0! That means it's nothing.
That's what we need. We need Gideons. We don't need any more Ephraimites.
And what you need is to shut the fuck up. What kind of Jonestown lunacy is this? Running to the fire with us. Could this be more culty? I don't think so.
Stop!
May each one of us walk worthily in these last days. Work on the qualities of humility, mildness, and patience. And if we do, we will be a uniting force for good and of Gideon-like value to Jehovah and the organization in the troublesome days ahead.
This man just makes me sick. He's only been featured once in this channel, and believe me, it was also culty as hell. Get out of here, you boob-grabbing psycho fuck. And this was from the April JW Broadcasting. Extremely culty. We've long known that Jesus is just a puppet in the hands of Watchtower, a way to give authority to themselves. So remember when Kenneth Flodine, the poison bread man, said the quiet part out loud?
Let's extend the illustration a little. Farmers often trained their oxen to respond to verbal commands so that they could keep their hands on the plow and not have to deal with the reins and the plow. The governing body could be likened to the voice of Jesus, the head of the congregation. So when we willingly submit to the faithful slave, we're ultimately submitting to Jesus' authority and direction.
Yep, so listening to the governing body equals listening to Jesus himself. Totally not a cult. If I was still a Christian, I think I would be quite upset with this choice of words. You can find the full video right here. Kenneth Cook is the most bland and boring governing body member. Hell, a toilet plunger displays more emotion than him. But just get Kenny talking about the gays and he suddenly fills up with rage. This is the homophobic rant by Kenneth Cook, and I'm gonna put a little trigger warning for you.
So then, what about the people? Does Jehovah's disgust at the ruining of the earth apply to the ruining of mankind as well? Yes. Along with false religion, human society in general is gradually corrupting everything that Jehovah has set in place for mankind. We see it in their incessant nationalistic wars. We see it in their racial hatred and divisiveness. We see it in their promoting of abortion. We see it in their so-called gay marriage. We see it in the gender blurring that the world is promoting. You don't have to be a man or a woman, they say. You can be whatever you feel like or choose to be. Really?
Of course, this knucklehead can't tell the difference between sex, which is biologically determined, and gender, which is more of a social construct. It's not only that he refuses to understand the nuances of human existence, but he is actively hostile towards anything that doesn't fit into his little boxes. He just can't wrap his little head around the existence of non-binary people and transgender people and the existence of a gender spectrum. For cult leaders, everything is always black and white.
If that is how the Creator feels about the switching of clothing, how much more detestable he must view the world's attempts to blur the lines of gender with false labeling. Recently, the World Health Organization adjusted its view of gender. It now states that, quote, there are many genders existing on a spectrum from male to female. It added that gender identity exists on a continuum and that sex is not limited to male or female. Again, really? Talk about an attempt to tear apart what Jehovah has made. So then even government agencies on a global scale are getting involved, and they are critical of anyone who does not adopt their warped view. Jehovah's purpose for humans is clear, but Satan's world now says that marriage can be between two men or two women. Again, really? We can be certain that promoting this corrupt view is part of Satan's attempt to ruin mankind, to make them so abhorrent to Jehovah that he would abandon humans and his purpose for mankind in the earth.
By far, the most homophobic rant ever produced by the governing body, and believe me, they never miss an opportunity to crap on the LGBTQ community.
Are you a homosexual?
What a piece of shit. You can watch his entire rant right here. This year's annual meeting introduced so many changes to the JW doctrine, and the most notable change being the one made to the Great Tribulation teaching, because now you can repent after the destruction of Babylon the Great after seeing actual evidence of the truth about JWs. But I think the worst part of the meeting was actually this bit by Jeffrey Winder, in which he just flat out says that the governing body has no need to apologize. No matter how many doctrinal flip-flops they force upon their members, they are never in the wrong.
Well, we have the privilege to live during the last days, where true knowledge was foretold to become abundant. But even still, it is released and made known at a pace that we can absorb, that we can handle, and that we can use. And we thank Jehovah for that. Well, knowing this, then, we are not embarrassed about adjustments that are made, nor is an apology needed for not getting it exactly right previously.
Jeff, you should be embarrassed, because all the faithful slave has been doing since 1919 is lie. That's all you're good at. Lying. 100% of your doomsday predictions have been wrong. I mean, dude, you shouldn't be just embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You expect your followers to listen to you as if they were listening to God, yet when it's time to flip-flop on your doctrines, you just kind of toss your hands into the air and say, oops, we never claimed to be infallible.
The governing body is neither inspired nor infallible.
You donut. Your policies have ruined thousands of lives, and you dare to tell everyone that an apology is not needed when you get something wrong? Sit on this, Jeff. If the governing body actually followed Christ, they would be the first ones to apologize when they made a mistake. But no, they don't even consider that an option. All they can do is gaslight their members and place all the responsibility on them. What a cruel joke. Watch Prophet Jeff's entire circus show right here. 2023 was also quite a big year on children propaganda. We already covered two of these videos, the one where Sophia was encouraged to dedicate her life to Watchtower, to Jehovah, and the one where Zoe is pressured to stop celebrating Christmas. Yep, they both sucked ass. But I think the worst Caleb and Sophia is this one, titled Who Should Be My Friend? In the video, we see Sophia feeling left out since she's not allowed to go to a science fair with the rest of her classmates because these kids are bad association. They're not JWs, so Sophia shares her grievances with her dad.
I just wish I had some kid friends.
Jehovah wants you and me to have friends. But the question you need to ask yourself is, who should be my friend? Let's talk about it at our next family worship.
Then Watchtower just invents a whole new Bible character, Thalia, in order to teach kids to only befriend other kids with the exact same belief systems, aka only JWs.
Oh, Talia, did you hear? The teacher Jesus, he's coming back to visit.
The man from Galilee? Are you hosting him again?
Talia, you've been kind to me in the past, but you don't believe Jesus' teachings. We cannot be friends.
Yep, let's use Bible fanfiction to teach lessons that were never in the Bible.
So, Sophia, what do you think Jehovah is teaching you about friendship?
That I have to choose my friends carefully.
And how can you know if someone should be your friend?
If they help me be Jehovah's friend. I am not gonna join the club.
That's my girl.
We are so proud of you, Sophia.
And Jehovah is proud of you too.
So since Sophia does not have any classmates who are JWs, she's just supposed to remain a loner in school. Well, she does make one friend in the congregation, but she is much older than her and it just comes off as creepy. The lesson? Treat your non-JW classmates as if they were the plague and assume that every JW is potential friend material since they share the same basic belief systems with you. Yep, totally healthy advice for developing minds. I'm gonna cover this propaganda very soon in a future video because it's truly one of the worst of 2023. So, JWs can now grow beards without any spiritual repercussions. You probably saw the video by now, so I won't repeat myself too much, but I just had to include this clip because it's such a gross show of manipulation. Stephen Lett finally admits that the beard prohibition never had any scriptural backing, but instead of just apologizing and moving on, he starts pissing on all of his followers and dictating exactly how they should feel. For the ones who were critical against the beard policy, Stephen tells them they were basically promoting divisions and that they should not feel vindicated even though they were right all along. But to the ones who understandably are going to be resistant to the change, Stephen tells them to get on with the program and stop judging people on their appearance.
Well, after viewing this program, some might have to contend with strong feelings. For example, some might feel as though they've been vindicated, saying, in effect, "This is what I've been saying for a long time. This proves that I was right all along." Others might feel disappointed, saying, in effect, "I supported the policy about grooming for all those years. Now, I feel let down." But is either reaction appropriate? Not really.
That's rich. After causing so much suffering with their unscriptural rules, there are no apologies and no empathy to be found here. Just a cold policy change delivered in the most cynical way possible. This entire video shows you that the governing body is obsessed with controlling the feelings of their followers, even telling them at the end that they should feel grateful for the small crumbs of freedom they have been fed.
Are we not grateful for this balanced direction regarding beards?
What a clown. So I was debating whether to include this video on the list, since it was probably produced before 2023, but since it was leaked just this year, I guess it counts. This is a secret Watchtower instruction video shown to the Gilead graduates at Bethel, and boy, does it scream cult. The video follows the meeting between 4 congregation elders and 1 circuit overseer, who come together to talk about the latest congregational scandal. Brother Brown has allowed his adult daughters to attend college.
Brother Brown, it is true. Some of the congregation have been negatively affected. They've been disturbed by the example of your daughters pursuing higher education. You've openly talked about wanting the best life for your daughters. And this has given some the impression that the only way to get the best life, it's not through spiritual things, but through secular pursuits. Some of the congregation are even confused about what the organization has stated regarding pursuing higher education. In fact, Sister Single's daughter is considering pursuing higher education because of the example of your daughters.
Oh no, your daughter's example is encouraging other young girls to pursue college? Only in Watchtower land would this be seen as something bad. In fact, the congregation is so stumbled by the news that Brother Brown is demoted from his elder position, all for the crime of letting his daughters pursue higher education.
Now, I know this is difficult for you. It's difficult for us too.
Don't tell me about being difficult. When we started this discussion, you all brothers said you love me and my family. Right now, I'm not feeling it.
After prayerfully weighing all of the facts and considering the scriptures, the body of elders unanimously decided to recommend your deletion as an elder, and I agree with them. That's why when we weighed all of the facts and the scriptural qualifications, as well as considering the direction from Jehovah's organization, the body of elders and I decided that you no longer meet the qualifications for an appointed man.
I understand what you're saying, but I do not agree with this decision.
Prayerfully think about what we talked about today.
In other words, who cares about your feelings? Just bend over and take it. This video is one of the worst Watchtower propaganda pieces I've ever seen, and you can watch it here because I think it's one of my favorite things we produced. And coming in at number 1, the deleted shunning videos. These 2 videos are so terrible that even Watchtower themselves tried to delete them. They were to be shown in the regional convention, but after the release of the Rebecca Vardy documentary showcasing her experience growing up in the religion, and the negative press they were getting in Norway due to their barbaric shunning policies, Watchtower decided to pull the video last minute. But they were still leaked by a certain whistleblower, and man, they're just awful to watch.
Mom's disfellowshipping still feels so raw.
Elsa, please speak up. I miss you so much. I just want to hear your voice.
It's such a struggle. I miss her. She taught me the truth. Gave me a stable life. She was my closest friend. What's the harm in just calling once in a while? To chat. Maybe I can even help her to come back to Jehovah.
If your mom is disfellowshipped and she calls you, don't answer the phone. But if it's an emergency, who cares? You gotta shun your family completely. And part 2 is even worse.
Abel was essentially a spiritual orphan. But regardless of what his parents chose, he listened to Jehovah and patiently waited on him to fulfill his promises.
I never thought of it that way. What has Jehovah promised me if I patiently wait? Spiritual brothers, sisters, and mothers. If I focus on what I do have and wait patiently, someday what I don't have may even come back to Jehovah.
Yep, apparently your biological mom is a replaceable asset in the JW world. You can just find a new spiritual mom in the congregation. Watchtower knows that these videos make them look like a cult, but instead of growing a spine and defending their harsh policies which are supposedly based on the Bible, all they did was quietly delete these videos from existence. Sneaky bastards. But now they're on YouTube for everyone to see. You can find the full rebuttal right here.
I feel dead inside.
So these two videos are the worst of the worst for 2023. If I missed any videos you think should have made it into the list, please let me know in the comments below. Guys, thank you so much to everyone who has supported my channel in the past year. We have been growing a beautiful community here, and I'm super proud of what we've accomplished. I'm especially grateful to my Patreons and channel members who have supported me financially, and to everyone who has left a donations in the form of a super thanks. I could not do this without you. I have so many fun projects to cover in 2023, so don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of it. Thank you so much once again. Don't forget to think critically, live your best life, and stay away from the tower.
Goodbye, little sheep.